Welcome to that 80s show. Dori, I'm going to start the show with the George Michael inspiration.
Like you start every day of your life?
Every day of my life. We haven't had a George Michael mensch in a while.
It has been a while.
Since the coins.
Yes.
Which, I didn't get in the lottery to get a coin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I will not be getting a coin, but I will start it. A video popped up on a social the other day of George Michael in concert. And in his latter day concerts, all his like very, a gentleman of pop music. And he sang, all his more mature songs, but then starts playing, what was it? Which song was it? Everything She Wants. Oh. Okay, so he's got a live band, obviously playing Everything She Wants. And he goes, I'm going to take everyone back to the 80s for a moment. And he says, if you don't remember the 80s, look at the person on the right of you. Imagine them with 4 to 5 times more hair. And this song was a big hit back then. So, Dori, look to the person in front of you and imagine me with 4 to 5 times more hair.
I'm actually trying to remember, since we've known each other a fairly long time, did I ever know you with hair?
No.
I think I'm... Really?
I was a young bald. Young bald. Yeah, I've had... The longest you would have ever seen my hair would have been like on a blade 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a young bald.
I can't remember how you looked when we first met, except for the fact that you were wearing like shorts that looked like you were going to gym at work, which has not changed.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do.
Yes.
Because why wear pants?
No. We know you famously do not like to wear pants.
That is a story for another podcast. Why does Paulo not wear pants? Paulo pants square bob, you could call it. Dori, mistakenly, a few weeks ago, we were looking at 80s Airbnbs. Mistakenly. Okay. And we came across, you could go back to the episode a couple of weeks back. You can also check them out on our Facebook page, That 80 Show SA. There was the Home Alone house you can stay at.
Yes.
There's loads, but these were the 80s themed ones. There was what was the first one that we saw? It was, anyway, another 80s house. But the third one in particular was, we were a bit thrown because it was the Prince bedroom.
Yes.
Okay, Prince as in the singer Prince.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, it didn't make any sense to us. And then we figured out, it's the bedroom from Purple Rain.
Right.
Prince's movie. Kind of semi-autobiographical, you'd say.
I think
Purple Rain was, right?
Yeah.
And that makes sense because it did not look like a room Prince would sleep in as Prince. And we imagine Prince's bedroom, what that looked like. Lots of fingerprints, lots of prints all over. Maybe no prints, maybe dust for prints afterwards. We don't know. That's speculation. What we do know is that it was super hosts Wendy and Lisa.
Yes. And I said, the Wendy and Lisa?
And I don't know. But then Wendy and Lisa are Wendy and Lisa of the Revolution.
Did you go down the rabbit hole?
I have gone down a Wendy and Lisa rabbit hole. Right. So I did not know that, of course, you hear Prince and the Revolution.
Yeah.
Then there was Prince and the New Power Revolution.
Yes.
Right? But it started out as Prince and the Revolution. Now, I'm going to give you excerpts from the Wikipedia page about Wendy and Lisa, who are a couple.
Cool.
Okay, they are a couple. Because we wondered that about the Airbnb, but like that's great. A couple runs an Airbnb together, Prince themed, that's great. But more than that, I'm going to post this on That 80 Show SA Facebook page. A Prince comic about the history of Prince and Wendy and Lisa and the Revolution. I mean, I'm turning my laptop now to show Dori, but there is actually a comic book written about Prince and the story of the Revolution.
By who?
By Wendy and Lisa.
Oh my God.
They had this made. I think Prince was also involved. But it's their whole story. There's little animations. Look at that. There's Prince without a shirt on, a little cartoon comic Prince.
That looks very threesome-y.
We know Prince. Prince did love a lady. Let me tell you the story. So Wendy and Lisa, and they were briefly known as Girl Bros. Girl Bros. I'm going to go, I'm not going to say Bros, because I said Bros, you got triggered.
I did.
So I'm going to go with a band called Girl Bros. Their real names Wendy Malvoin and Lisa Coleman, and they began working with Prince in the early 80s and were, like you said, part of the Revolution. Prince loved to muse. They were kind of one of his muses. So it started off with Lisa joining Prince's band in the early 80s. So she played keyboards and pianos. And then he did eventually ask her to contribute to vocals. And then the guitarist, how weird is this? Des Dickerson leaves the Revolution because of over religious conflicts with Prince. Was Prince overtly religious?
He was, it came out, I remember when he died, that he was of...
Scientologist?
No, I think it was like Mormon or not Mormon. What's the other one? There's other weird
other
sects.
religions. Okay,
He was part of a religion.
Okay.
You could Google it.
All right. Okay,
Yeah.
so Des Dickerson,
He was.
Des Dickerson left, and now they left without a guitarist. So Lisa says, hey, I've got my girlfriend, Wendy, guitarist. Let her join. Prince goes, I love this.
Yeah.
So then Wendy and Lisa make up part of the Revolution. And at this time, they began to record Purple Rain, of which then Wendy and Lisa contributed to Purple Rain, the soundtrack, as well as the movie. They helped him produce the movie. Then Prince starts dating Wendy's sister, Susanna, not Susanna Hoffs.
Okay, because that was my first thought.
Now we know Susanna Malvoy. Now we know Prince had a crush on Susanna Hoffs. Infatuation with him. They then, after Purple Rain, they did Around the World in a Day and Parade, which was the soundtrack to Prince's film Under the Cherry Moon. Do you know that movie, Under the Cherry Moon?
God, that sounds so familiar, but I can't. I do think I've heard of it, actually.
I sense a movie recommendation coming along.
I will look into it.
I sense a movie recommendation coming along. And everything is fine, and in these ways until it is not fine. Because Prince now started working with expanding the Revolution, and Wendy and Lisa cite Prince's increasing machismo that these new members are now encouraging with Prince. Is this now the new revolution?
Or devolution.
Yeah. So it ends up in a bit of, in 1986, Wendy and Lisa get dismissed by Prince for disrupting the Dream Factory album. That was already completed, and that was kind of the final straw for that version of the revolution. So he fired them, Wendy and Lisa.
Huh. And yet they still make a Prince-themed Airbnb? So clearly they don't have any, grudge.
And there are bills to pay, Dori.
Well, I suppose, why not exploit it, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Also, how long have they been together as a couple? That's amazing.
That's from the 80s. That's fantastic, because if this story picks up from 1980, Lisa was part of the band when? 1983.
That's like 44 years.
That's a good run. That is a good, and that is good mathematics right there. But well done, Wendy and Lisa. And this is what I'm saying. A couple that B&B's together stays together. Something. Or runs. Is it a
couple that revolutions together? Then B&B's together.
Then B&B. So what have they done together? So as Wendy and Lisa, they released an album titled Wendy and Lisa. The singles released were Honeymoon Express, Waterfall, and Slideshow, but surprisingly none hit the top 40. So they haven't really they've had mixed success in different space. They won a Grammy. They've done a lot of session work for people like Lisa Marie Presley, Terence Trent D'Arby, Pearl Jam, Grace Jones, Madonna, Eric Clapton, Mac Miller. So a lot of session stuff.
Yeah, so they're very good behind the scenes. They're just not, the front people.
The front people. They scored Dangerous Minds. Yeah, and have scored numerous TV shows like Heroes, Nurse Jackie, and Firefly Lane. Heard of those?
I have.
And they technically share the honor of winners of a Grammy and Oscar for being part of the revolution as Purple Rain, obviously.
Right.
I think, was that one of the first movies to win an Oscar and a Grammy in the same year?
Oh, I don't know.
Could have been, it's a trivia thing.
We need an award savant for that.
An award savant, they should. And then for Nurse Jackie, they won an Emmy for Outstanding Original Main Title Theme Music.
Oh, I'd have to go and listen to that.
We would have to go back and look at it. So that is, and listen, nothing here on their Wikipedia about their Airbnb exploits, although it does say that they collaborated with Grace Jones on her 2008 album Hurricane. It doesn't specify how. We know the stories about Grace Jones. Are we to speculate how they collaborated?
I think that you're speculating from a very heterosexual male point of view.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Am I cancelling myself?
you are.
Okay, let me not go further. But anyway, that is from the Wikipedia page. But like I say, there is a fantastic comic book version of their whole story that is there for your reading pleasure. That just explains to you. There's a fun little part where it says that Lisa was always very playful with Prince. Give him a little pinch to tease him. How stupid are people? He tease you with a pinch. Goddamn grown-up people here. What are we talking about?
I mean, no matter how dedicated you are as a lesbian couple, if you have an opportunity to have a threesome with Prince, you take that opportunity, right?
Because Prince was, it's quite weird about Prince.
He was like gender fluid in so many ways.
Was he really? Because there's never been any stories of him with anyone other than women. He was always with women.
Yeah, but the way he presented his own sexuality, I mean, he was like with the makeup. I suppose it was the 80s. Everyone looked like that.
It was a thing because you never hear of him having like relations with male. It's always, and he was
that might have been the religion thing.
Could have been. And now that I think about it, he was deeply religious. He was deeply, deeply religious. And he took a muse. Vanity was a muse. Susanna Hoffs. All of them looked very familiar. There were a couple of others. So I don't think he was, I don't know. Who knows? There's image of Prince. Dori, every week we look for something from the media that is 80s related. And we talk about it. And this week you very excitedly... We're going to have a conversation about this because you feel it's 80s. I'm not sure.
Really?
But of course, as time of recording this, not your time of listening to this, Eurovision was last weekend. Probably by the time you listen to it, it was 2 weekends ago. But Dori wants to... And listen, that's the thing. Well done for us because Eurovision is come and gone. I mean, I can tell you now, we must be the only platform in the world that is talking about Eurovision 2 weeks after it happened. With only people talking about the 80s 40 years after it happened. So it's right.
I bet you we're not because all the people in Europe are still talking about Eurovision. I bet you.
No.
I bet you.
You think so?
It's a big thing there.
It's a big thing for the few days before, couple of days after.
But there was a lot of drama at this year's event.
Ooh, yes, there was drama. A lot of manufactured drama, if you ask me.
There was some real drama.
But real drama. I mean, here's the thing. All these years of Eurovision, we still go, the biggest act to ever come out were ABBA.
Yes, and they did a whole like dedication thing to ABBA.
They did because it was an anniversary of them winning?
It was an anniversary.
Oh, because it was in Sweden.
And it was an anniversary.
It
was an anniversary. I think it was like the 40th anniversary or something of them winning. No, it would have been
it would
more.
It would have been 50th because they won in the 70s.
Maybe 45th?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It could have also
been,
it could mainly because it was Sweden. I don't know. I didn't watch it. What am I talking about?
It is possible that there was a Swedish element.
So you felt that, I saw the satanic people from
Ireland. The satanic people from Ireland.
Very surprising that.
They apparently were very unhappy with how things went. They complained about...
The satanic people.
Yeah, the satanic people complained about the bad vibe backstage.
Yeah, when you say... Listen, I mean, Satanism is not what it was. Listen, I don't know if they were satanic. They
weren't, but their song was horrible.
I think that was the vibe. It's like, your music sucks, guys.
Yeah.
Your music sucks. You're kind of going for a bit of the Unfoot vibe, but you're not even there.
Like when I think Ireland, I think, lilting folk melodies.
I think it's called keening or kierning.
Maybe.
The way they sing, like Cranberries.
Possibly some rain dancing
Sinead
even.
O'Connor. The Irish are lovely musical people. Such a small nation. So many great artists.
But also so much drinking.
Not that band. Not
that band was, I don't know where that band came from.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the reason I want to talk about Eurovision on that 80s show, because for me, Eurovision is one of the places, it's insane, it's crazy, it's totally out there. It's always a visual spectacle. But for me, and maybe this is also just a European thing, there's just a lot of 80s-ness to it. And it's either in how the people sound, how they dress. It's over the top. It's very colorful. This year,
very camp, very kitsch.
Camp, kitsch, all the things. And this year, very, very much filled with angst. So much angst. Did you see the guy from France? He basically lay on the floor, almost crying during his song. It was so angsty. But there were a few things that stand out for me as somewhat 80s. The duo from Sweden. Let me get their names.
So those were the two young boys.
The two young guys
With
who were the Swedish entry.
Yes.
Marcus and Martinus. They looked like twins.
I would never have thought that's a Swedish name. That is a very Swedish name.
Okay.
Home Crowd.
Home Crowd. Very average song.
Yeah.
But their outfits were extremely 80s.
They were but the haircut was very 90s. So the two
Yeah.
young boys, they're probably like early 20s. They do look like
I don't know.
twins.
They could be teenagers. They looked pretty
They're
young.
very
eh?
young. They're very
Yeah.
young. They had purple outfits on.
Blue and black.
Blue. Okay. So
Like
right.
an electric blue
Yes,
and black.
okay.
Very shiny,
Very, very shiny. They always sang back to back. They were back to back the whole time.
which is also very 80s.
Very 80s. I did find their haircuts, the little curtain haircuts, very 90s.
Yeah, look, there's always going to be some overlap.
We're very
right?
Nick Carter, early Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys. Yeah.
Let's talk about Finland.
Finland, yes. Great. Listen, great musicians in Finland. If you want to talk about very musically talented people.
Yes.
I have not met a Finn who is not good with a violin.
Okay.
I think-
Or a lute, perhaps?
No, Finns and violins, they go
Finns and
together. Yeah,
violins,
no,
okay.
they're just purely because it rhymes.
A band I've never heard of called Windows 95 Man.
Oh, these guys were outrageous. This was the Nudie Man.
I would like to refer to him as the Weird Al Yankovic of Finland.
He was
He
very
was
much.
very Weird Al Yankovic-y.
So this guy comes out with a Windows 95 T-shirt on,
But like blurred.
blurred,
like kind of blurry.
right? Very
Yeah.
pixelated. He was mulleted. He was mulleted.
He was somewhat. He had like Weird Al Yankovic hair, but blonde. So like long curls.
Like a pink cyclist cap. Yeah, he had a cap.
he did. Maybe.
Did have a cap.
Okay.
But his best was the item of clothing he removed.
Well, he came across as nude, but I managed to pause the video in exactly the right spot.
Oh no, he was not nude.
He
So
was not nude.
He had little denim shorts, beautiful denim shorts.
No, this was before the denim shorts.
Didn't he come out in the shorts and remove the shorts?
No, he came out pretending to be nude.
Oh, because he had a little covered, little flesh-colored.
Flesh-colored. They call it a vanity pouch
Okay,
in the biz,
okay.
from what I understand, from listening to My Dad Wrote a Porno.
Going back to our first story about Prince and vanity, did Prince ever wear a vanity pouch in front of vanity? These are the questions.
These are the questions you ask yourself and no one else asks.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So he was wearing. So if you pause the video in exactly the right spots, you could see that he was not actually nude.
Yeah, yeah.
But they did like a funny, like the Austin Powers thing where they put things in front of him
Yes, yes.
to make it look like he was, but they were just happened to be covering it up. And then there's the moment where the tiny little denim shorts are lowered from the ceiling on this like really weird string in front of him. He then puts them on. And he detaches the weird string from itself.
Yeah,
And as he does that, like these fireworks come out
amazing.
and he waves them. You have to watch it. It's so incredible. It
And
really is. It's so camp.
The
It's so
song
fun.
in itself
The
is,
song is ridiculous.
again, more 90s-ish. It's Windows 95, man.
It was, and the song was called No Rules, and the song could have been late 80s. It had a late 80s
It
vibe.
did have it. Okay, maybe I got just about
Yeah.
the 95 thing.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, look, the Windows thing is very 90s.
Look, what you're saying here is all of these people is that there is so much 80s influence in what these bands at Eurovision are doing.
I think so. I think that Europe in general has a stronger 80s influence than other places.
They do love it.
Yeah.
They do love it.
They really do. But my favorite, Paulo, my favorite from Eurovision was the band from Croatia, called Baby Lasagna.
Mm.
They had a song called Rim Tim Tagidim.
Of course, rolls off the tongue.
Does.
Yeah.
This guy, if not, it's a big coincidence, was really influenced by Adam Ant. Lots of pageantry and costume and performance. A friend of mine described it as Rammstein rave. Again, going into the 90s.
It was
because
very
Rammstein's
much like
very
it.
90s.
You didn't, this Baby Lasagna,
Yeah.
is the band Baby Lasagna or he's Baby Lasagna?
I assume it's the band. It's a
but
large band, many people.
Eurovision does that often.
Yeah.
They will either be like a solo act or like a shitload of people?
Yes, and there were quite a few solo acts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this baby lasagna guy, the lead singer, Adam Ant looking didn't sound like Adam Ant.
No. It sounded more like Rammstein.
More like Rammstein.
Yes.
But you're right, Rammstein rave.
Yeah.
Which again,
I loved their song. I loved their performance. I went and found the music video,
great.
the original music video of the song.
Great.
Also great. I think I'm going to investigate more of their music because I really enjoyed it. The one last thing I'll mention about Eurovision, the guy who was disqualified for being, quote, inappropriate with some crew members, to the point where they reported him to the police.
Is this the guy who was like rubbing, his performance was very, looked like he was doing acts of sex with people in a bathroom?
No.
Okay.
This guy, he was wearing a very big blue suit with huge like shoulder pads.
Right.
It was also, his song was quite 80s. He was from the Netherlands, the Dutch guy.
Mm-hmm.
The song was pretty 80s. He looked pretty 80s in his thing. He got disqualified from the finals because he had, like I said, been inappropriate.
Right.
We don't know any more than that. But he was reported to the police. There's going to be a case.
Wow.
The Dutch think it was a inappropriate overreaction.
Right.
But apparently the Eurovision organizers and the powers that be said absolutely not. Totally contravened the rules.
It was a Dutch overreaction. There's a podcast I listen to that they say you can put Dutch with anything and it sounds filthy, right? So, oh, geez, I'm going to give that Prince gave me a Dutch overreaction. You know?
Is this because of Dutch oven?
But it's just try it. Try it. Anything put Dutch with anything and it becomes dirty.
Okay, I'm going to drink some Dutch water.
Oh, it's disgusting. Jeez, I'm going to hand me that Dutch spanner over there. Hey?
It's pretty bad.
You can do it.
I think it's because of Pass the Dutchie.
Oh man, it's filth. It's got to do with, and I'm not saying the Dutch are filthy. I'm just saying it's like you've got a great nationality, but it just sounds dirty. Put up that Dutch hinge.
Well, people say that they're going to go out and they're going to go Dutch.
Gee whiz, me and all my friends we were in Dutch. Oh, wow, guys, hope you wore
were
protection.
Almost arrested.
Yeah. So that guy had made a Dutch pass.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It could be misconstrued. So that's Dori. Listen, Dori, like I say, at the time of recording, Eurovision is 2 weeks away. If you're still going to look up any Eurovision people past like literally midday today, that is, I think the Eurovision website will probably be down because they're like, no one cares. We're done. You had your 15 minutes of fame. That's what Eurovision's about. We'll get the people next year.
Yeah, don't forget, it's every year, guys. Every year.
Every year. Friend of mine said in the gay community, it's like their World Cup.
Absolutely.
It's
absolutely.
the World Cup final.
It is the event of the year.
It is. So glam, so camp. Speaking of which, I'll bring you to my movie this week. A movie a few weeks ago, I did Caveman, where everyone was wearing a loincloth. And I kind of wonder if I'm in this theme of doing loincloth-related movies.
We should maybe investigate that in your brain.
I find this movie because I wanted to look at 1984. There's a lot of movies this year getting their 40th anniversary release. And you start going through, wow, we'll do it in another show of how many movies came out in 1984.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I was like, okay, those are the good ones. What shit came out in 1984?
Oh, God.
Let me go look at the raspberries of 1984. Yes. And I found a movie that when I was watching it, my wife said to me, my God, I love this movie. She said, I remember it was such a sweet, nice movie. And I'm like, I do think it was sweet and nice.
Oh, well, I'll probably like it then.
Let's see. So it is loincloth based. Okay.
Okay.
It stars I may have coined this term for her, the fetish and fantasy superstar. I'm sure we've mentioned her name, and your husband is a fan of hers, Tanya Roberts. So Tanya Roberts was very akin to being a Playboy model, a B-grade actress. She was a Bond girl.
Yes, that's where
She was a Bond girl, but she did a lot of like very, I wouldn't say saucy movies, but very much in the 80s. When I was watching this movie again, I was like, we saw a lot of nudity. A lot of nudity in primetime movies. like Blue Lagoon, Return to the Blue Lagoon.
was ridiculous.
Right?
Yeah.
And we saw, there was just so much nudity. I was like, I'm seeing a lot of
Do you remember 10? The movie 10?
Of course.
Yeah.
There was a lot of nudity.
Yeah.
And no body doubles.
Yeah.
No body doubles. If you're Hollywood, and this
People just love to get naked in the 80s.
Subsequently, we found out, that wasn't, it was terrible. There's a very ugly side to all of that. But we were seeing a lot of things, a lot of naked females in the 80s. Specifically in my movie, set in a fictional African country, a young girl, her parents are just broadly on safari, right?
Okay.
They're in Africa on safari. That's just what you did in Africa, and they die. And their daughter's now abandoned.
Oh, dear.
And she then gets found by a tribe.
Right.
Who now raise her. She's obviously a young white girl.
Yeah.
And they raise her in their ways. The movie I'm talking about this week is Sheena.
Oh.
Now, Sheena, the story goes, she was the female Tarzan.
Absolutely.
Back in the 1930s comic books. And this was kind of one of the first, they did a few adaptations actually. This was the 80s version of it.
Okay.
So Sheena is the female Tarzan.
Right.
Right? She's the queen of the jungle. She can, this African country, is fictional African country, there's a magic that comes out of the ground. And because of this, she's now being taught how to tap into it. Listen, there's a lot of very problematic ways with the way they refer to African culture. And, even in the opening, in the trailer, she was an innocent in the land of the savages. You kind of you got to put all that aside. You
got to put it in context.
You got to put it in the time. So now she's taught how to harness this power to now communicate with animals, which is her real big superpower.
Yes.
And there, at the same time, there is now this evil corporation wants to start mining the land. They're coming in. There's a group of mercenaries being sent to wipe out the tribe. And at the same time, there is a cameraman or a journalist and his cameraman who have come there to tell the story of a retired soccer player from the country. They get lost. They end up in the jungle. Sheena finds them. She thinks they're a part of the bad guys. But of course, this is now Sheena's love interest. It does bother me in the context of they've created the Sheena character to be this really strong woman. And I don't think women were depicted in that way, but she just can't help falling in love with the guy with the blow-dried hair and the low-cut shirt. That character was played by Ted Wass, who was the father in Blossom.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably recognize him if I saw him.
If you see him, you'll know him, but not too many great actors or actresses.
Who played Sheena?
This is Tanya Roberts.
Oh, right.
Yes, Tanya
sorry,
Roberts.
you said.
Listen, she's gorgeous. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, she is like, look, you may say step out the pages of a Playboy. Some people even said, Siskel and Ebert said, there's more nudity in this than there is in this month's Playboy. How they knew, I don't know. Don't ask them. Maybe it was just a turn of phrase.
Yes.
But there was a lot of controversy at the time because the movie just got like, hey, this is a great family movie.
Yeah.
A lot of nudity. Lots. Tanya Roberts was nude a lot.
I don't even know if I ever watched it. I'll be honest with you. I'm aware of it.
Yes.
I remember it.
Yes.
I don't know if I watched it.
No, rewatching it, I was like, I've seen this movie before. It is great. My wife remembered a lot of it. She loved it just because Sheena was able to communicate with the animals.
Yeah.
She had control over the animals, like flamingos, lions, hedgehogs.
I love Jungle Book to this day.
Well,
so like
Mowgli,
it's such a relatable story in a way, like from your childhood.
It is, but with a lot more softcore porn elements.
Right. Okay. Sounds pretty good actually.
The opening sequence, the best is the zebra.
Okay.
It's a horse painted with stripes.
Oh no. No.
Right. The opening sequence is 2 minutes of Tanya Roberts riding this horse, okay, in slow motion. The breast tape is doing a lot of work.
Okay.
A lot of heavy lifting to stop things from popping out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they know what they're doing.
Right.
They know 100%. Every time, every shot, they know what they're doing. They're going.
Or they had to seriously edit it.
No, they knew exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
Every time Tanya Roberts is on screen, listen, they know what they have. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's statuesque. She like owns the screen in every scene. Not the greatest actress.
No.
And even though now you got to consider that she's now a character who has not been brought up in a Western world, doesn't really speak English. So her communication is very fundamental.
Yes.
And you got to have that. Still
not, hey?
She got to where she was for one reason. I can't even remember I don't remember which James Bond movie she was in.
Me neither.
check
I feel
that
like
quick.
it would have been my favorite Bond, Roger Moore. I feel like it was a Roger Moore.
A View to a Kill
Uh-huh.
with Aha doing the soundtrack.
Of course.
Did they do A View to a Kill?
No, wait.
No.
That's Duran Duran.
Duran Duran.
You're thinking of The Living Daylights.
Living Daylights. How can I forget
Both
that?
the best.
Both the best.
James Bond songs.
Listen, we're going off topic now.
Totally.
I mean,
Let's go
both
back to Tanya's boobs.
the best James Bond movies.
Yeah.
Roger Moore. I mean, are you of that generation? Roger Moore is the best James
I am
Bond.
indeed.
Yeah. And how can you beat it? You had Aha and Duran Duran doing the theme song. What are we doing
No, but The
here?
Living Daylights was Timothy Dalton, wasn't it?
Dory,
I think I'm right.
you probably are right.
Yeah.
You probably are right.
But he did like 1 or 2 movies.
You know, you're just fundamentally changing the whole way I think about James
I'm sorry,
Bond.
but it's okay. You can still love Aha and Roger Moore
Okay, but we're not talking about those loves. We're talking about Tanya Roberts right now.
and her boobs.
And her boobs. And that is my movie recommendation. You know what? If you watch it, even if you just watch the clips on YouTube, you're going to like it. You're going to go, you know what? I could see why this movie, and not just for the, just the titillation. You can see why, it's just like it's got a really innocent, sweet story.
I actually am keen.
Yeah.
Apart from the boobs, I'm keen. Like
No, you don't
I'm
see
keen
boobs.
for.
You see bum.
Okay.
I think you do see boobs. You definitely see
You
bum.
just said there was more nudity in it than Playboy.
Bums.
Bums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not more nudity than Hustler. Maybe that's the distinction I need to draw.
It sounds like it's a movie I'd enjoy. I think I would give it a shot.
Okay. So
Yeah.
give it a shot. And another thing to give a shot, so it's just popped up. So we said Prince's movie, Under the Cherry Moon. Now, of course, we all know Purple Rain. So he did another movie called Under the Cherry Moon. It's a 1986 romantic musical comedy drama film starring Prince, and he also directed it.
Clearly not as successful as Purple Rain.
The film underperformed both critically and commercially, winning 5 Golden Raspberry Awards. Why have I not spoken about this movie before?
It is so your kind of movie. I tell you what, I'll do Purple Rain. You do that.
Dory,
Like in the future.
it's tied with Howard the Duck for the worst picture.
Wow.
That is, if you
And
know,
you have done Howard the Duck.
Under the Cherry Moon equal with Howard the Duck. We're not even going to review it. I'm going to read what it's about. So he plays a character. I assume he's one of these characters. Gigolos, Christopher Tracy and his friend Tricky, originally from Miami, reside on the French Riviera. Christopher works as a piano player at the Venus de Milo nightclub, and along with Tricky, spends his days identifying rich women to target in order to gain large amounts of money via marriage. That's the plot, Dory.
Sounds terrible.
Are we watching this?
No, it sounds horrific.
Dory, we got to watch it.
I know it's going to be so bad.
We got to
Can we
watch.
get drunk and watch it?
We could have cherry schnapps. Hey? That is
Cherry liqueur.
Under the Cherry Moon, Prince's directorial debut. Prince was a lot of things.
And that was it. Did he ever direct anything after that?
Yeah, it doesn't specify, but I can't imagine. Maybe his music videos. But that is actually fantastic. Another article pops up this week. I love it when these stories pop up. How much did things cost in the 80s?
Yeah.
Don't you love those?
Well, they're a bit depressing, but yes, I do.
I mean, so this is from SA People News. How much these 14 South African groceries cost 40 years ago. Do you do the grocery shopping?
I do. I do.
It's very depressing.
Very.
One of the things, the tricks they do that I hate what they do nowadays, they don't put the price up. They make the bottle, the packaging smaller.
Okay.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Because in your mind's eye, you're really going to notice a 750 to like a 660. Really.
Until you actually see it, and then you're like, this used to be bigger.
It's like my stuff's not
But you
lasting
see, I
as
do a lot
long.
of online shopping.
Yeah, that's the worst. They trick even worse.
Totally get tricked because you can't see the size of the thing. And I remember I was like, oh, I'm going to buy a big bottle of something. And it came, it was so teeny tiny. It was like the miniature,
Yeah.
the mini me of it. I was
They-
like, okay.
They get you, and you're not going to send it back.
No,
It's a pain.
total pain.
So here's the things you could buy in the 80s.
Right.
A 4-pack of Carlton paper towels.
Yes.
4-pack.
Okay.
R1.29.
Sure.
This ad says, as promised on TV. It is from, which store is this? Oh, I recognize it. Could be Checkers. Checkers used to have Checkers used to be yellow and red. There.
Yes.
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 A 2 liter milk, R1.72.
Hmm.
Today, 35 Rand.
Yeah. And today, 2 packs of Roller-Tal is 25 Rand for just 2.
See,
Nuts.
toothpaste, R1 40 years ago. Today, 16.95. And we think that's cheap.
Does feel cheap.
It does feel cheap. An average bottle of red wine, R4 back in the 80s. 220 Rand today. Bottle of whiskey, 20 Rand in the 80s, 300 Rand. You're lucky. Pack of Simba chips, Skafies. I want to be a Simba chippy. 99 cents. I feel that's expensive. I feel chips were cheaper.
For a small one or a big one?
Well, the comparison is 17.25. So it'll be the
big one.
The bigger one. Adjusted for inflation, those chips would be 20 Rand. So yeah, pretty good on inflation. A dozen eggs, R1.32 back then, 110 Rand now.
110 Rand. Where are you getting eggs?
Maybe
that must have been during the egg shortage.
During the egg shortage, that was
because
definitely during.
There's
the egg
no ways
shortage.
I pay that for a dozen eggs.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Pack of tennis biscuits, 80 cents.
Hey, it's cool. The tennis biscuits haven't changed over the years.
I love a tennis biscuit.
Like they taste the same.
They're the best.
They really are.
If you don't have tennis biscuits in your country, they're coconutty type biscuits.
Yeah.
They've got a coconut. People use it for baking. Love a tennis biscuit.
Very versatile. Good for dipping in tea.
And
they haven't changed over the years.
They haven't changed.
Like even Mari biscuits have changed a little bit.
Because so many things have changed because they have to take sugar out.
Yes.
Yeah. Tennis biscuits. I don't know what you guys are doing, but you figured it out.
Well done. We'll pay whatever it costs.
Exactly. Not 80 cents anymore, but still it's a good treat.
It's still not badly priced as well.
Not at all. It's a good little treat if you're on a budget. Earlier on, I mentioned Tanya Roberts, the movie Sheena. She rides a horse painted as a zebra.
Yes.
And, we hope these days they're more conscious of animal rights, or they're using CGI animals.
Right.
I think that's just the best way to do it.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, we spoke about the orangutan Clyde.
Yes.
From Any Which Way You Can and Any Which Way But Lose. And we asked about him. Said, who was that orangutan? Like we spoke about the movie, didn't spend time on the orangutan. Oh, I'm almost sorry I went to go look at this to find out who is Clyde and what happened to him.
Oh no, is it a sad story?
Dori, it's a nightmare of a story.
No, I don't want to know then.
No, I have to, for the sake of completion. So there is a twist in it though. Okay? We're talking true crime ape podcasts here. Yeah. So the orangutan that played Clyde, his name was Manus. Right?
Okay.
And why would you, and I understand for movies and that's a very good animal to be trained with another name. Because why don't you just call him Manus? Because
maybe it's not as funny as Clyde.
I try to train a dog, but they say the dog doesn't know their name. They just understand what you're saying to them.
Right. It's
the way you say
intonation
it. Yeah.
of your voice.
Orangutans the same.
I literally don't know, but I would imagine not.
No, because they're smart.
I would imagine that they're clever, yeah.
Yeah, they drink and they can gamble. So that's what these movies tell us. So it was played by Manus, and he was in the first one, Any Which Way But Lose, but he wasn't in Any Which Way You Can, the sequel, right? Because he, as the child actor, had grown up too much between productions. Right, so obviously Manus was in the first one, and he had grown. I mean, an orangutan is going to grow substantially in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
He's going to get very bald.
Oh,
right. Maybe he's
Really?
going to become unruly. They couldn't control him. So in Any Which Way You Can, he was played by 2 orangutans, like we kind of suspected.
Yeah.
Played by CJ and Buddha.
Okay.
Okay. Now Clyde has his own IMDb page, right?
Huh.
Yes, and he was also in Cannonball Run.
Wait, not Clyde, Manus.
Sorry, yes,
Yeah.
Manus, right. So he was in
I remember the
Cannonball
orangutan
Run.
in Cannonball Run.
Yeah, he drove the limo.
Right.
He was also in an episode of Fantasy Island,
Okay.
an episode of Joan Rivers and Friends,
Hmm.
okay, and Chips. He was in an episode of Chips.
Oh, love chips.
This is Manus. met a guy the other day that was like, I have contractors in my house. One of the many numerous people that just showed up, just randomly. When you have contractors, people just walk into your house.
Mm.
It's like, I really hope you're meant to be here. True as God. I was like, Eric Estrada, older, weathered. Eric,
Right.
Builder Eric Estrada. But imagine Eric Estrada as a builder.
I can do that.
No. Fantastic hair on this guy, though.
Right.
The hair on this guy, speckled with contracted dust. Fantastic. So we go back to Manus. And here's where it gets horrible, because the next title on this Wikipedia page, controversy.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. So in a documentary produced by People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, it was alleged that Manus was beaten on the set by his trainer to keep him docile. The trainer would spray mace in his face and then beat him with an iron pipe wrapped in a newspaper. Okay, so the source of this comes from book Visions of Caliban. But here's where the controversy comes in, because they say that wasn't Manus. There's a mistaken identity. That happened to Buddha, one of the orangutans used in the second film.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, no matter who it happened to, it's awful.
Terrible. Buddha was badly beaten by his trainer, who clubbed him with an axe handle, and then an autopsy after his death suggested cerebral hemorrhage. Buddha's crime was stealing donuts off the craft service table.
Oh.
The book claims that the second orangutan referred to as being in the Clyde form, Junior, or CJ, was then brought in for publicity. So the allegation is that they beat Buddha so badly they killed him.
Yeah.
And they brought in a second orangutan to cover it up.
Ugh.
Now, this is all laced in hearsay because people claiming on the set of the movie said these things never happened. So it was claims by a makeup artist and other people saying, no, that's not true, and the time scales, whatever, but it's still never been cleared up. So who thought that innocent little Clyde was not Clyde, was actually Buddha, who wasn't Buddha but was CJ? This monkey business, Dori. It's goddamned monkey business.
I knew it was leading somewhere.
I didn't even know it was going to be. That's a terrible story.
It is a terrible story.
That's terrible.
Thanks for depressing me.
Shame.
Yeah.
You know, I watch that movie, you think, fantastic. This ape's having the best time. He's drinking on set. He's ogling ladies.
Yeah.
And then it's actually, listen, that's why I say, when you think about this nowadays, when you watch a movie and you see an animal that's obviously CGI'd, it's better.
It is better.
It's better because these poor animals must not be actors.
Yeah.
Okay? We saw what happened. We've seen what happened to 80s actors. We saw it, Dudley Moore. Does an animal deserve to be Dudley Moore? You'll be happy to know that Manus performed and had a long career performing in Las Vegas acts.
Okay.
So he retired to Vegas.
I hope he had a good life.
You know,
Yeah.
I like to think of him smoking cigars, living the Brat Pack life.
Yeah.
In not Brat Pack, what is Frank Sinatra's The Rat Pack?
The Rat Pack. But speaking of the Brat Pack,
Ooh.
did you see that there's a documentary coming out?
That documentary, the one you're talking about called Brats, right?
Yes.
Has been coming out for friggin' years. Can you please tell me that it's out? Or is it still coming out?
I actually saved this
Because
to talk about.
It's
today.
it's directed by one of the Brat
Yes,
Pack,
Andrew
your
McCarthy.
favorite.
Well, it's
But
one of my favorites.
Dori, we've been teasing that for almost, it must be 18 months now.
Okay. Andrew McCarthy posted on Facebook yesterday. Ooh. Hey guys.
Well, just give the date because we're not in yesterday. We're back to the featuring, Dori.
Okay, hang on.
We're back to the featuring.
I don't know what date it is. The 15th. On the 15th of May.
Now, you may be listening to this in early June, wherever you are. We're back to featuring it.
Right. Andrew McCarthy post. Hey guys, exciting news. Brats, my Brat Pack documentary, is set to premiere on Hulu on June 13th. It was an amazing journey to catch up with the old gang, many of whom I hadn't seen in forever. I hope you'll check it out.
June 13th.
With a picture. Now, I don't have Hulu or access to Hulu.
So Hulu is Disney. I think some of
it's on Showmax.
Yes.
But I don't even know if this will be on Showmax.
Showmax is a South African streaming network.
If it is going to be on Showmax, I will take a subscription for a month to watch this.
I'll give you my logins.
Oh, don't say it on the show. You're going to get arrested.
Oh, okay. I'll introduce you to my friend Kenny Loggins. I'll never suspect this now.
Never. So yeah, exciting.
That is exciting. So, okay, finally, because they have been teasing that forever. Kind of like the Milli Vanilli movie that has also been in the works forever.
Didn't we watch it? Was that that was a documentary?
Oh, there's so many. There's documentaries, then they're doing the biopic. It's just all over the place. This has been That 80s Show. What a fun time we've had on that show. A lot of 80s animal-based conversations.
Don't go back to it.
Shouldn't. I wish I hadn't done that.
Think of the happy one, Sheena. Sheena.
We named our dog Sheena.
Did you?
Our dog. We had got Pitbull at the time. I don't know why the fuck we had a Pitbull. Named her Sheena.
Did your wife name her Sheena?
No. I was a kid. I mean, my family dog.
Oh, I thought you meant your dog that you have now.
Yeah. No. So my wife remembered Sheena. Give it a watch, Dori. It's good times. I'll watch it numerous times. It's one of those that when you hide it from the video shop, certain parts were very stretched.
Yes.
You know which parts.
Right.
Very stretched out. Very stretched. So it was nice actually watching it like in a clear version. Very nice. Favorite thing you learned in the show this week, Dori?
Oh my goodness. I don't even remember what we spoke about.
Oh, Dori. Neither do I. We learned about Wendy and Lisa of the Revolution.
Yes. Okay. My favorite thing is that Wendy and Lisa are still together after 44 years. That's my favorite thing.
Those things can happen. I don't.
A strong lesbian theme in today's show.
We did.
Yeah.
Wow. Very progressive of us. We're the podcast for everyone. Hey?
Yeah.
Everyone without taste. Thanks for joining me, Dori. Goodbye.
Bye.